Three Democrats are vying for the right to run against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in November. We're talking about State Senator Annette Taddeo of South Miami-Dade, State Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, who comes from Fort Lauderdale, and Congressman Charlie Crist of St. Petersburg. Crist was in Miami late this week, and we talked, apologies beforehand, this interview took place outside near a busy and noisy street, so there is some extraneous noise. Congressman Charlie, great to see you again.
Great to see you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
As you well know, Governor Ron DeSantis and his Surgeon General, Dr. Lapido, are doing sort of a statewide tour in which they're saying a couple of things. Number one, don't get obsessed with testing. If you're really not sick, don't get tested. And then they talk about monoclonal antibodies, but they don't mention prevention. They don't talk about vaccines.
Michael, it's shocking to me that the governor isn't leading on this issue. COVID is devastating, obviously. It's taken over the world, and he doesn't advocate getting a vaccine. He doesn't advocate wearing a mask when you're indoors, and now is sort of, decrying getting tests done. How are you going to know if you have COVID if you don't get a test? I mean, the whole platform that he's put forward on this, to me, is illogical. It is unconscionable. It defies logic.
Yeah. On the other hand, as he would point out, the economy of the state of Florida appears to be in good shape. Unemployment below 5%. We've got a couple of million visitors, even with COVID-19, Omicron. I mean, the economy overall seems to be in good shape. And he would say it's because I kept Florida open.
I don't think that's why it's so good. It's because of Florida, not him. People want to come to the Sunshine State, especially this time of year. It's beautiful. I don't think Governor DeSantis can take credit for that. Quite frankly, he could take better credit for the almost 63,000 Floridians that have lost their lives, the almost 4 million who have been impacted by COVID. And the fact that he won't advocate getting a vaccine or wearing a mask, just common sense things, defies logic, as I said.
Yeah. And his handpicked Surgeon General is still talking about the efficacy of a couple of medications like hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin, which mainstream medical science says these really are not effective. But Dr. Lapido keeps saying, consider them, use them.
Well, my father's a physician, my sister's a physician. Our Surgeon General in Florida, I don't think, is fit for office. I called for him to resign or for the governor to remove him. I don't think he's giving good advice, certainly not good medical advice to the people of our state. It's fine to advocate some medicine if you happen to get sick, but everybody knows in medicine prevention is the best answer, whether it's cancer or COVID.
So you are running against two reputable, well thought of Democrats,
yes, sir.
Annette Taddeo and Nikki Fried. Why are you the best candidate for Democratic voters?
Listen, I think we're all better than what we have now. Let me say that. And they're both friends of mine, Nikki and Annette. And what I have as an objective is to defeat Ron DeSantis. I think he has been terrible for Florida, terrible for COVID, terrible for public education, hurting our environment. Florida deserves better, and that's why I'm running for governor.
Yeah. All right. So let's say you get the nomination. Then you've got the mountain of running against the guy who's got more than $60 million. Now, what you have raised is not chicken feed, more than $5 million. But he's got 67 million. How do you do that?
Well, I'm excited about the future. We're only in January. There's a long time to go. We're up to about 6 million now as of today, which I'm very pleased about.
Okay.
But I'm not worried about the money. This election is about a lot more than money. This election is about people, about having a governor who cares. And Charlie Crist cares, and I think Governor DeSantis has proved he doesn't. He only cares about trying to be the Republican nominee for president in 2024.
Yeah. Charlie, as you well know, next week the legislature is going to meet in its regular session, and there are a couple of things the governor has asked the legislature to do. One of them is to create a sort of election fraud cop shop. 52 police officers, sworn officers, who would, it would cost $5.7 million. They would look into election fraud in Florida. Is that needed?
I think that's a solution in search of a problem, and we don't need that solution. I mean, the governor himself, Michael, said after last year's election in November, well, I should say in 2020, that in fact the case was we had a great election in Florida. And then he goes about trying to change the laws, make it harder to use mail-in ballots. As you said, have this, law enforcement task force to go after people who are voting. That's absurd. We hear about that in countries like Venezuela or Cuba, not Florida.
Yeah. And what about the creation of a state militia which would report only to the governor? Do we need that?
We do not need that. The notion that he wants a state militia, what kind of tyrannical government is he trying to put together? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to my fellow Floridians. Last time we had that was in World War II to protect the Capitol. We don't need that right now.
There has been mention that there may possibly be a bill introduced that would mimic the Texas abortion bill or the Mississippi bill. In other words, it would, restrict abortion in the state of Florida. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm pro-choice. I think a woman's right to choose is something that we have to respect. Obviously, Governor DeSantis does not respect that, and the legislature does not respect that. I think it'd be terrible for them to do something like the Texas law and rule out Roe versus Wade. I'm opposed to it. The governor wants to do it.
Yeah. You have been touring the state, talking to people in North Florida, Central Florida, Naples, Miami-Dade, Homestead, the Keys. What are the main things they are telling you they want in a governor?
Leadership they can be proud of. A governor who cares about them, who cares about their health and their safety with COVID, who cares about their children in school and doesn't tell school districts that kids can't wear masks. Let me give you one example. I have a 5-year-old niece, started class back in August. Pinellas County didn't say that you had to wear a mask. After 2 days being there, she contracts COVID. She comes home to her 2-month-old sister, then she contracts COVID. These are what bad policies do to real people all over the state of Florida. It's time for a change.
Yeah. Charlie, you've been in elected office almost all your life. You've been state senator, the education commissioner, secretary of state, governor, congressman.
Attorney General.
Yeah. Sorry, I remember.
It's too much to remember.
No, didn't mean to neglect. I know you love Bob Butterworth and always praise Bob for his time as Attorney General.
Yes, sir.
I guess my point is that you clearly have devoted your life to public service, but public service seems to be not so well regarded by people anymore, and we are so divided politically. Even with all your experience, how do you bring people together?
I think you try to lead by example, Michael. It's what you do as a journalist. I would try to do that as governor again and be decent with people, honor them, respect them, and fight for them every single day and truly care about their future.
Yeah. This interview, in fact, your campaign, it's hardly about the media, but I have to say Governor DeSantis, like President Trump, beats up on the media. He keeps calling us the corporate media. You've always had a respectful and I think a good relationship with most people in newspapers, broadcasting in the state. Do you see us as somehow enemies of the people?
I see people in the press as public servants, just like somebody who holds public office. You disseminate information to the public at large. It's a big responsibility. You do it with integrity. Most journalists do, thank God, and they need to be respected and honored.
Finally, on this program, we'd love to have you and Nikki Fried and Annette Taddeo come on before the primary in August and sort of hash out issues and whatever differences you have. Are you willing to do that?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, look forward to it.
Me too, Michael.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
My pleasure.